we aren't taught this stuff normally, are we?
Right.
We're taught math and English and history, maybe some history, but we're
Right.
not taught to feel the actual flow of our bodies.
Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. Hey, friend, welcome back to another episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn, here with you every week, and I'm excited for today's conversation. But I feel the need to start with a little bit of a pause or a clarification. So last week, we talked about sort of this confusing world of wellness, right? That it can be confusing because there are so many different approaches to healing. And one key takeaway was that we want a multidisciplinary approach, right? We want to come at our wellness from a variety of angles. So today we're talking about two more healing modalities that maybe you've heard of, maybe you've never heard of them. But I just want to say at the jump that the objective here is to continue to expand our awareness and to learn what's available to us, not to add to any confusion. Right? So, with that, I can't wait to introduce you to our delightful guest. So, she's a master neuro-energetic practitioner facilitating NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, hypnotherapy, EFT, which we've talked about before, emotional freedom technique, and life success coaching. She's a 24-year Reiki master teacher, craniosacral therapist, aromatherapist, reflexologist, licensed massage therapist, and intuitive reader. She entered the energetic healing world after growing up in the corporate restaurant world. Just like us, she's lived life, experiencing stress, anxiety, limiting decisions, feeling unworthy and undeserving. She searched for methods that would change her from the inside out because she knew there had to be a better way. Today, she's living her dream life because someone guided her toward ways to make lasting shifts. After living in Alaska for 26 years, she moved to Maui 2 years ago. That's certainly part of the dream life, right? Her life is filled with love and joy with her 2 children, 7 grandchildren, and 1 great grandson. By the way, I'm boggles my mind. But without further ado, everybody, I give you Sheila Hay.
Well, Jen, thank you for such a warm welcome. And I am grateful to be here on this amazing platform that you have serving all of the guests that are listening. So thank you. I'm excited to
Well,
chat with you.
thank you. I'm thrilled to have you here. It's your official welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. And it's been a minute since we last spoke. So, how's life in Hawaii?
Life in Hawaii is very warm today, and I'm enjoying the peace and the calm. It's a lot of seclusion, right? Because we're not leaving the island right now. So there are some tourists here, but for the most part, it is quiet, peaceful, and sunny.
It's kind of how I feel. In New York, like the tourists are coming back, but it was definitely a local city for a while.
That's exactly what it has been here. And you can tell when it takes you 15 minutes to get across the island instead of 10 minutes, there's more cars on the road.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I want to start with your story and then we'll kind of go from there. But before we dig in, let's tell our members what they're getting this week. So your recipe is for chimichurri turkey burgers. So seriously, like,
Mm.
right? They are light and delicious and refreshing and like the perfect thing for warm weather barbecues, so perfect for this time of year. And since it's the last month of the quarter, it's time for our live Q&A session with me. And I've loved chatting with you guys. So I'm doing it as a one-on-one again because it makes my day. So your email this week will also have the link for you to schedule our phone call. And I cannot wait to talk to you. So if you want to have a call, just you and me, it's time for you to become a member. We have people joining the membership every single week, so it's never too late. But also, what are you waiting for? Because you really do. You earn your money back with the benefits every month. I mean, with this phone call alone, you already earned back the cost of the year. So, if you're ready for a one-on-one session, more than the cost of the membership for a full year, you are winning already. All you have to do is go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. For just $10 a month, you'll get weekly recipes, a monthly article or tool, extra discounts from me and our partners, plus access to live Q&A sessions like this month. So it's a total deal. Like I said, you take advantage of the offerings, you're earning back more than the $10 cost. A no-brainer. Show yourself that your health is a priority. Plus, by being a member, you're demonstrating support for this podcast, this community, and that allows us to continue to bring you new episodes and experts every single week. Most importantly, it's showing yourself that your health is the priority. So go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries, but not if you're driving. If you're driving, don't do it now, right? Wait, you can also just click the link in the show notes, keep it simple. And then it's 3 clicks from there. You type your email, enter your payment method, hit subscribe. That's it. You'll get this week's recipe for the chimichurri turkey burgers and the link to book your one-on-one session with me.
I'm
Awesome.
headed over there as soon as we're over this call because I need that
Right.
recipe.
It's so good. You're going to love it. So, Sheila, tell us your story. And I love, in particular, right, how you went from McDonald's franchisee in Alaska to neuro-energetic healer on Maui.
Well, it was kind of a crazy transition, but all my life growing up, I knew I was meant to be a healer of some sort. When I was young, I really wanted to be a doctor, but then I fell in love with my husband and married into a McDonald's family. And
Uh-huh.
so we moved to Alaska, and it was 5 years that we owned the restaurants. And that fifth summer, I actually, Gary and I went to Arizona on vacation. Our kids went up to Penticton, British Columbia for hockey camp, and we went on vacation to see my cousin. And we went to Costco, and we always, when we go to Costco, we always go down the book aisle first and stand and look at the books. Pardon me. And I saw this book, and all I could see was this one book. It was like I had tunnel vision, and I picked it up and I opened it up directly to a page where there was a hand with heat pouring out of it. And I was like, oh my gosh. I had just on the flight down to Arizona from Alaska told my husband that I think I'm going crazy because I have heat pouring out of my hands all the time. And he was like, okay, yeah, I know when you touch me, sometimes your hand's really hot. So I stood in Costco for an hour at that book table and I read the entire book. It
Wow.
was
Standing
Diane
there.
standing there because I was like, this is me. I need to find out. So we were down there for a week. And on Thursday night, we flew home. Friday morning, I opened the Anchorage paper. And that afternoon at 4 o'clock was going to be a Reiki master class over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I looked at my husband, I said, let's do it. And he said, okay. And that was how we became Reiki masters together. And so we continued on with McDonald's until we knew more about our employees than we did about our kids' friends. And we just said, this is enough. We want to have a life. And so we sold our restaurant. We moved up to the interior of Alaska. We built our own house. And in that time frame, I decided I needed to learn all about essential oils and add that into being a Reiki master. And it was just kind of a natural progression as I was teaching essential oils around the country. I was teaching for a company called CARE, the Center for Aroma Research and Education. And I said, hey, I can do this. I can make my own school. And I have in Alaska, there were just hundreds of people that are metaphysical healers of all type. And so I started my own school. And a friend of mine, we switched. I taught her all about essential oils. I apprenticed with her for 3 years as a massage therapist. And that was kind of my breakthrough
Mhm.
then from Reiki massage into craniosacral. And together we took a craniosacral therapy class. And that's truly one of my favorite modalities to help people with.
It's amazing. I there has to be some sort of connection because all of the craniosacral therapists I know are also massage therapists.
Well, you know what? It's kind of a I did it backwards. Um, I I was still training the massage part, I guess. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was mid apprenticeship. So I didn't start out as a massage therapist. I did start out
Right.
as Reiki and it was kind of a different world. But I would have to agree with you. The majority of people that I know that do cranio are massage therapists. And since we last talked, I have some super exciting news.
I can't
I
wait to hear.
I I was contacted by Dr. Stephanie Garcia, who is the owner of Neurofeedback Maui, and she is the only doctor licensed and that does brain mapping on the island. And she has invited me to have my own office in her office. So I have shivers all over, and I get to start doing craniosacral and Reiki from Neurofeedback Maui. And this weekend, I actually take my breakthrough practical exam for the final part of the neuro practitioner stuff, and I am off running.
I love it. Brain mapping, by the way, is so fascinating to me. We're gonna have to have you come back to talk about because also essential oils, I know nothing about. So we're gonna have you come back for that. We're gonna have to talk about the brain mapping, like so many things. But so focusing today, right, on the Reiki and craniosacral.
Okay,
Let's just start with sort of they're different. So I'm sort of torn. Like, do we talk about them simultaneously or do we do one and then the other? But uh, tell us what each of them are. Like fundamentally, if someone's maybe heard the words but doesn't understand, like what is Reiki healing and what is craniosacral therapy?
sure. Reiki is literally means universal energy, life force. And Reiki, when when I go into a session, I actually bring in the energy from the universe down into my body. And there are symbols that you're given when you are taught how to become a Reiki master, and they're called attunements. And with levels 1, 2, and 3, you receive a different attunement and gives you different symbols. And those symbols activate the energy. One is for directing an emotional healing. One goes for the physical body. One you use for distance. So I can actually sit here and do a Reiki session on you right where you're at. And we can
I'm
be
in.
thousands of
Let's do
miles
it.
away. Okay. And honestly, Jen, that has been one of the blessings about what's happened for the last year of the twilight zone that we've been in, because we haven't been able to touch one another. But with Reiki, I sit on my bed and I text my client and say, "Are you laying down? Are you ready?" And then I start my Reiki session where I visualize the person laying in front of me as if they were on a massage table. You can Some people hold an animal, stuffed animal, to visualize their distance person. Others have a picture. And then you start up at the crown and you're just allowing I can feel the heat. I'm so hot right now. It is just talking about it is pouring out of me. So I'm just going to send it to you if you'll take it.
I will take it.
Okay, so it is headed your way. And there are different we start at the crown, the ears, and then down on the body through the whole body. And at different spots, like I will lay my hands on the head and the ears above the eyes, but we lift our hands in the private areas of the body. We're very modest. And then I'll put them back down. And my own self, what happens when I'm doing Reiki, or any of the healing modalities that I do, in my vision, up in my third eye, it floats down literally into my vision. I see the colors of magenta and chartreuse. And when the healing energy is flowing into the person's spot, I see the green chartreuse color. And when it's time to shift and move, magenta comes into my spot and my hands kind of go a little cold. So that indicates for me to move down to the next space on the body. And all I'm doing, I'm a facilitator. I am not healing anyone. I am directing that universal energy that comes through me to you, and your body actually utilizes the energy and does the healing work itself. So it's pretty quantum
And so
physics.
right, and so in person, as you described it, right, like, for the person sitting there receiving the session, it's light to minimal touch, right? And what might they experience, or what do people tell you they experience while they're sitting there?
Sure. A lot of times people can feel the warmth coming out of my hands. Um, Even when I'm not touching the body, they will say, "Wow, your hands are really hot." They physically, that's one of the things. Their body may tingle. They may feel just a flush of bliss. That's a really big one that I've heard. And then I've had people fall asleep because they finally can relax. Their mind is calming. And emotionally, you will have, um, you may almost have like dreams flash in front of you where you can see an experience, but you don't have to feel the emotion that went with it. And that healing of that emotion can occur. Some people cry. Some people have told me they feel as if their third eye has been activated. And they have, after sessions, when they've talked and it's a couple days later, they actually say they feel like they can use their intuition more. So there's multiple ways that the client can actually feel and experience the sensation without, um, like massage, you have to have that deep tissue in there, that movement on the
Right.
body. So without doing any of that, and you're fully clothed when you have Reiki. So it's just a totally different experience.
And so what are the mechanisms in the body by which this works, right? Like, so quantum physics, how do we wrap our head around, right? Like,
I
what's
just say it's
actually
magic,
happening?
and it's magic.
Right, magic, right.
Uh, you know, Energetically, we are all frequency. Our body is, I mean, just literally, the physical body is electricity, and we vibrate. Each organ vibrates at a different frequency. So when you are using energy, which light and sound, they're the same thing. They are energy, and that's what we're pulling. Universal energy. So they're going to go in, that energy looks for places where the frequency is out of alignment. And so it may be focused into one of your organs. We store memories in all of our cells. So maybe there's a cellular memory that's kind of been like a thorn. And the Reiki comes in and says, "Ooh, I think we need to snap that thorn off, give you some peace." So it brings that cell back up to frequency. We all have literally a divine blueprint of health when we come into this world. And Reiki helps that blueprint come back forth.
Amazing. And so it's somewhat similar and also different to craniosacral. So they're both light touch, but explain now, what craniosacral therapy is.
Okay. So with craniosacral therapy, we use 5 grams of touch, which is the weight of a nickel. And it is literally going it's working on the skull, and then the spine all the way down to the tailbone, the sacrum, and all different body parts. But your brain has what's called the dural membrane that covers the brain and your spinal cord, and that is attached to bones in different areas. And you may have heard the term fascia. Fascia covers
Mhm.
muscles. Well, this is basically like fascial release, and all of the little membranes in your skull, in the bones in your face. I could reset. We have a beautiful little bone behind our eyeballs called the sphenoid bone, and that bone moves forward, and 5 seconds later, it moves backwards. And what happens is it pumps the cerebral fluid around your brain and your spinal cord. And when that's not happening, people that have Alzheimer's, they've proven that they have a lower flow of that spinal fluid. So it's really important that your brain is hydrated. And when you are doing the cranio, by lifting and literally lightly manipulating those membranes by holding the different skull bones, we have a different position for each bone, that allows those membranes to untwist. Your brain is kind of like a sponge, and when those membranes get twisted, then your sponge, your brain is squished, and it loses its hydration. And by unwinding those, that allows that brain to hydrate again. It allows the different nerves along the spine to hydrate. So it really is a very different process than with Reiki. But I do have to say that when I'm doing craniosacral, the Reiki turns on naturally. And I can say stop that, but I'm not going to, because
Yeah.
if your body says, hey girl, turn on your Reiki, then I'm going to listen to your energetic field.
So tell me with the craniosacral, because there's a thing about like Arnold Schwarzenegger's forehead versus Bob Hope's forehead,
Okay.
which is my favorite thing that you said. So
That little bone that's behind your eyeballs, if that bone gets stuck back, you get what's called the Bob Hope slope, because he had that very sloping forehead. And if it is tilted and stuck forward, then you get the Arnold Schwarzenegger flat forehead right up front. And so as I'm interacting with other humans on the street, I can literally tell if you're in one of those two positions that your sphenoid is stuck and you're not getting that movement of your fluids, which is going to cause it can cause not just headaches, but it can cause other physical conditions, because all those nerves run to the different organs in the body, right? So you don't want your brain stuck either way.
yeah, and it's so fascinating because it's stuff that we don't. First of all, nobody talks about, the spinal fluid and that even has a chance of not flowing properly, right? Like I think some of this is new information, but I could also see, and I see it a lot with people when I talk about other modalities and things like that. Like probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that this stuff is just woo woo, right? So like what do you say to someone who's like, I don't know that I believe it, whatever, like is it the science? Like, what do you say to that person?
Well, first of all, I would say, is your intent that you would like healing? And if they say yes, I would like to heal, then I would say, well, is your unconscious mind ready for you to allow yourself to receive healing? And if they say yes, I'd say, well, why don't you come lay down on the couch, on the table? Let's just try it. And if they said no, then I'd say, well, then you're not ready to even experience it, really. And the wonderful thing about craniosacral is that it was actually um, Dr. John Upledger. He was an osteopathic doctor. He furthered it. He wasn't the original inceptor of it, but one of
Mhm.
the guys that he went to school with was. And so he took over the studies and he furthered it along. So there is science-based study for craniosacral therapy, and it is in medical doctors do it.
Mhm.
And what's really fascinating about Reiki too is that hospitals have Reiki wards now, and or an office where there is a Reiki setup, and that they have people that come in and will perform Reiki for patients. So right there, if a hospital is going to allow Reiki and craniosacral in there, what more do we
Right.
need? What more
Yeah,
do we
and
need?
I've seen you probably know more this than I do, but, like, I've seen that some studies showing benefits for people with diabetes, advanced AIDS, prostate cancer, fibromyalgia, stress, and a lot of different aspects of stress and anxiety, and, it's really tremendous. Um,
You know what?
and
One of the things
I
with
think we
the
see what we wanna see.
We do, and one of my favorite things to help people with in craniosacral, I love it because I can feel the bones moving, and once the system is back on, I can literally feel your rhythm. But when your the bones right at the base, at the back of the neck, temporal bones, uh, if one's stuck in and one's stuck out, you're in duality, and I'll ask my clients, are you having troubles with making choices? And oh yes, okay. If your temporals are, if they're stuck out, most I found many people, not most, many people that have dyslexia have their bones are stuck and don't flow right. And when you have them back on and moving, it's so cute watching you rub your
I'm
bones
like,
back
me
there.
my I know, I'm like, I'm sitting here as you're talking, I'm, like, feeling mine, I'm like, "Is that me?" And, like and that's the difference between somebody trying to do it themselves and like, what it's supposed to feel like. Like, I'm touching I have no idea if this is are they out? Are they I have no idea.
Right, and we aren't taught this stuff normally, are we?
Right,
We're taught math and English and history, maybe some history, but we're
right.
not taught to feel, the actual flow of our bodies. And, when I was a kid, I'm 57 and a half now. When I was a teenager, we were taught that there were 5 separate systems of the body and they did not interact. Well, let's
Mhm.
throw that lesson out because that's not truth at all anymore.
Right.
It's very far from it.
Thank goodness science continues to evolve, you know?
Truly, truly. And now we're in the world of the quantum, right? Where if you choose to believe it, everything can happen right now. Everything can manifest faster for you. And all of these healing modalities, for me, they there is no time and space. So grab that energy and let's use it to literally take ourselves to the next level. Let's protect our health. I mean, for goodness sake, we just came out of a crazy time frame and we're not really out of it, are we?
Right,
um
right. We're
and
emerging, if you will.
Right? That I'm pecking away on the little dragon egg trying to crack free.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
so it's really important in my mind that we give ourselves the optimum amount of support to be healthy, right? Um, it's it's only fair to yourself, okay? And that's one of the wonderful things about Reiki is that I can totally sit here and do Reiki to every part of my body. I can do craniosacral to many parts of my body, but there are a few moves that I can't do to myself just by nature of how you have to hold the body.
Anatomy,
And
yeah.
right. And so I taught my husband a few of those things. And
Right.
he helps me.
That's awesome. So I wanna talk more about, um, the symptoms and, how we can point ourselves in the right direction after we take a quick message from our partner for this episode, DNA Miracles. Because every child is a miracle. DNA Miracles provides the highest quality body and wellness products designed for babies, children, and expectant mothers. All products are gentle, easy to use, and 100% effective when used as directed. DNA Miracles partner with leading health professionals and scientists who follow the highest standard in ingredient selection to select the most effective skin, hair, and health solutions. As natural as possible, DNA Miracles is the best and safest option on the market for you and your little miracle. From expert pediatricians to real family testimonials, everyone has fallen in love with DNA Miracles. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but I feel like a bunch of people I know are having babies, like all the pandemic pregnancies, they're now babies. So if you're going to a baby shower or the baby's born and you need a gift, I highly recommend the DNA Miracles Natural Bath Time Box. So it comes already in a cute little gift box that gives you one bottle of the DNA Miracles Natural Foaming Wash and Shampoo, one bottle of the DNA Miracles Natural Hydrating Body Lotion, baby lotion, I'll get it right. One bottle of the natural diaper cream and one jar of the DNA Miracles natural soothing ointment. By the way, if you buy it for yourself, that soothing ointment is amazing for dry skin. Like I buy it separately, just like elbows and feet, especially in the summer when we're not wearing socks as much. Anyway, all of these are specially formulated for newborns, and they're also perfect for mom and dad because remember, we think like skin to skin contact. So we want to make sure that what mom and dad are using is also safe for baby. So you get all 4 products in the gift box for $57.95. And of course, you get 10% off by being a Salad with a Side of Fries listener. So text the word miracles, MIRACLES, to 844-947-4846. You'll receive the link and coupon code right to your phone. Again, simply text the word miracles to 844-947-4846. This is a toll-free number. Standard text and data rates may apply. Are you texting right now?
You know what?
Kidding.
Jen, my great grandson is 1 month and 11 days
Oh
old.
my gosh.
So I'm like, oh, I got to get that.
Yeah,
So when we're
do it.
off air, I will get the whole
Yeah.
number from you. Okay.
Absolutely. So back to Reiki healing and craniosacral therapy. So we sort of talked about, you mentioned the dyslexia thing. You mentioned, we talked about some of the studies, but like what might somebody be experiencing where we want them to go Reiki, right? To think Reiki for these issues or for something else to think maybe they're the same things, to think craniosacral.
Okay. So for craniosacral, there are some specific things. If you are in any kind of a car accident, if you could be in your kitchen and like me, I'm 5'2", and that cupboard door, the bottom of it is right at my head. And so sometimes my husband will inadvertently open it, I'll turn, didn't know he's there, and I'll crack my head. Anytime you have anything that you hit your head, you would be served to go to a craniosacral therapist because your bones back there, that little sphenoid, could be stuck. Okay. Anytime that you have a, what is the word I'm looking for? Not a coma. When you have when you don't want to go to sleep, keep your eyes open.
Oh goodness.
You know what I'm talking
I
about.
do know oh God, concussion,
A concussion. That's it.
right? I'm like,
Yes.
whose brain works? I'm like, wait a minute, maybe my fluid's not flowing. Like,
Well, whew, let's get that back on, right? Yes, a concussion. Anytime there is concussion, you would want to have cranio done. And what's really amazing, when I was going through my training for craniosacral, one of the stories that's told to us is that Dr. Upledger was contacted by an Olympic dive champion, and she was having oh, now I'm trying to think of the word. When you're up on the top and then she couldn't get to the edge of the board without feeling as if she was going to fall. And she got very dizzy.
it's almost like PTSD kind of a thing,
It
like that
was,
trauma.
yes. And so She had to stop diving. She couldn't dive. And somebody said, go see Dr. Upledger. And she went. And literally, this is the craziest thing, Jen. He worked her knee. He worked the fascia around her knee and untwisted and released the pressure in the cartilage. And she was able to dive 2 days later. And all of the dizzy stuff that she would feel in her brain when she would get up, and that falling sensation had it went away, and she went on to be a dive champion. And I'm trying to think of her name, but like I said, I'm 57, and those
Right.
memories are way back there.
But it's but it's interesting. It sounds like when we any sort of impact or physical trauma, it seems like that's the indication for like cranial.
Certainly, yes, absolutely. And then Reiki is good for all of it. Okay. So anything emotional. I'm actually work with a young lady that lives in Texas, and she is 13 years old, 13 and a half now. And we are working with her because um, a she actually has some physical conditions where she leaks cerebral fluid from her brain. And so she has some fear around going out in public and being with a lot of people. And so we've been doing Reiki for, probably 4 months. And her mom will text me and say, "Hey, can you do a Reiki session today or tomorrow?" And I will say, "Absolutely." And then I just do that distance session. And it's actually been about a month and a half. This is the longest time in between that we've been gone. So that to me is a sign that she's starting to heal even more and more. And we were doing it once a week. So that's the wonderfulness about Reiki, is that energy knows where to flow, that your body is directing it. Okay. I'm not telling it where to go. Your body is literally identifying where that energy needs it the most.
So, is it the energy of the practitioner that makes a difference? Like, is it the practitioner's energy that's facilitating the healing?
Absolutely not. That the healing only comes from within your body. um, and that's the only place. There's no pills, there's no modality, there is nothing that I can do to you to make you heal. And what you put into your body is certainly the number one thing that I would say. um, However, as the facilitator, what's important about me is my energy and my intent. Is my intent to facilitate your highest level of healing? And if the answer is yes, which mine is, then that will amplify that energy and allow a smoother transition. Now, sadly, I have known different therapists, which I don't even like the word therapist, but different facilitators that when their client leaves them, the client's more tired, and the facilitator is all like jacked up on energy. And that, if you have that experience, I'm just going to say it plain: run away. Okay, find someone else that has the intent of serving you and not themselves.
I want to come back to this in a second to talk about like choosing a practitioner. Um, but I guess before we get to that, how many sessions does someone need to do to feel a difference? Like how often, how much time between, and what can we expect? Sort of managed expectations, right? Like how do we know?
Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples of people that I've worked with. Okay.
Okay, great.
This is an extreme example. I have a friend that was in horrific car accident up in Alaska, and she wasn't found because we lived in the interior out in the middle of nowhere for 6 hours after the car accident, and
Oh
she
my
nearly
god.
died. She broke both of her ankles, her pelvis was broken, and she was in the hospital for a very, very long time. And, um, a friend of mine worked on her down in Anchorage, which is 4 hours away, while she was in the hospital, and he called me and said, "She's coming home. Are you ready?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I got to work with her, and I would see her twice a week to facilitate both craniosacral and Reiki, and I anointed her with essential oils. The essential oil, if you have 100% pure essential oil of wintergreen, super for helping to heal broken bones, okay? Just a tidbit I throw out at
Note.
you. And so that's an extreme case. And I'm the kind of facilitator that I cannot tell you how often to come. I can recommend a schedule. If seeing me once a week is like a tune up for you, and you can feel literally when you have craniosacral, you will feel the bones in your body shift or the membranes shift. And so you instantaneously, in my world, have a feeling as the client, you could tangible. Okay.
Mhm.
With Reiki, like I said before, some people will feel tingling, warmth, see colors. That is again, when you say, how often do you need it? Okay, well, I could have it done every single day.
Right, right.
However, based on what your physical condition is, are you a healthy person regularly? I mean, sitting here and speaking with you, Jen, I would say, hey, Reiki once every other week or so, like a tune up. And I would
Mhm.
actually say, take my class, learn it yourself, and you could do it on yourself every single day. Okay. That's keeping your body at its high frequency. Craniosacral is a modality that to me, and as I'm sitting here thinking about it, the body has more actual trauma, physical trauma,
Right.
right? And so that is what I would say. Like I had patients like my friend Suzanne, and then I would have clients when I worked in Alaska where they would come for cranio 2 days a week, and then it would peter off as their condition literally is shifting and improving. There's no need to continue the same schedule if they're feeling better. Okay.
That
Because
makes sense, and I think that also helps us sort of wrap our head around if we're having a conversation with a practitioner and ask some of those questions, like, that makes a lot of logical sense to me.
good, because I don't want you to be addicted to me, right? I want you to be addicted to life and what you can live and choose to live as your life. So I'm here to teach the learnings of how to do it and help facilitate it. But I don't want to heal anybody. I just want to help you.
Awesome. So, tell us then, how would we find a practitioner, near us or, how do we know if somebody's worth their salt? Like, what are we looking for?
Okay. That's a little challenging because of not being in everyone's locale. So I can't tell you who's worth their salt. However, you can go on in online and look under the Upledger Institute for Craniosacral Therapists, and they are actually listed all over the different states. And um, you can actually just punch into the internet and
Mhm.
search local. That's one way. But if there's, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but if you have crystal stores around, you want to go into a crystal store and ask there for a Reiki master. You can probably find one there. Here on the island of Maui, there are a lot of spiritual centers, and there are numerous Reiki masters, but guess what? There's only two of us craniosacral therapists. And so with cranio, it is a much smaller amount of people that practice it than with Reiki. And I would actually suggest, just like you were saying, talking to your practitioner, ask them, what is their intent for me? You know? "Oh, I'm gonna heal you?" Well, then that right there lets me know that's some spiritual ego going on, right? And so
Mhm.
I'm not into that. If they say, "I'm here to help you heal yourself," that's somebody that I'm more interested in. And I'm not necessarily um I'm interested in someone that has heart and integrity instead of um letters behind your name and stuff. I've got them, but it's not like I want everybody to go, "Oh, I'm going to go to you because you have MNLP behind your name."
Right. And it's interesting too because I think, to your point of how do they answer those questions, there's also something to be said for are they willing to answer those questions and what's their tone in answering those questions? Like I guess reading between the lines a little bit. And every time I ask this question, there is something about, it's really gut instinct, but
And that's truth because your higher self or your let's go to your subconscious, okay? The prime directive of your subconscious is to preserve the body. Okay. And so when you say your gut instinct, that is your subconscious saying, "Hey, run away," or "Ooh, fully embrace this person." This person, there are people that you are drawn to from the minute you walk near them or talk with them. And uh, that literally is your higher self saying, "Hey, they're vibrating at your frequency. See what they can,
mhm.
what's the exchange between you two that you can have."
Awesome. So, I mean, I think it's fascinating the way something that's so light touch in both of these, approaches that can have really profound, I mean, structural impact on the body. So, I'm just fascinated by it. I know we could talk forever. Um, Before we go on to our rapid fire off topic questions, anything else you think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention in this conversation?
I would just honestly ask people to be open to different modalities and to say, "Hey, maybe this is going to take me through that barrier that I've had with whatever the problem is." Because sometimes there are things that, um, I mean, Reiki is a touch energy healing, and there are studies out there on it. You can go to different places and find it. Just trust yourself. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's time for you to cross the science line and go into the woo woo world. They mold together.
Excellent. I couldn't agree more. So, okay, are you ready for our short list rapid fire off topic questions that I ask every expert who joins us?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's the best thing you've done for your health this week? And what's the naughtiest thing you've done related to your health this week?
The best thing I've done this week was to buy the biggest bag of green spinach I could get down at Costco the other day.
Nice.
And the naughtiest thing was that um, we celebrated my getting that office by my husband took me for Mother's Day to I wanted a blended iced coffee with caramel in it, and it was decadent and delicious.
Nice. If you weren't a healer, what would you do?
I would be, oh, I hear in the back of my head running restaurants, but oh God, I did that for so long. I don't want to do that anymore.
I get it. Favorite book on any topic other than your area of expertise? It could be fiction.
Oh, my very, very favorite book. I've read it 3 times, the original version, Margaret Mitchell, Gone with the Wind.
Nice. If you could cure one ailment, disease, or sickness, what would it be?
Alzheimer's.
If you were a superhero, what would be your superpower?
Um, mm, mm, well, I'm already a magical dragon and I make dragon eggs.
Right? I like it. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Dirty dishes.
And finally, in your opinion, what's the next frontier in wellness?
um, light therapy. Light therapy, which is a whole nother thing, Jen, that we can talk about one day. But uh, I use a product that, oh, it's not right there anymore. I wear a patch that has organic enzymes and salt crystals in it. And when you put it on your body, the body heat activates it. And these crystals act like little refractive mirrors, and specific frequencies are bounced into your body and activate your brain to do different things. So that's another conversation for us.
Definitely. So, one more time, thank you for being here. Just truly appreciate it. Tell everybody how to connect with you and where to find you and get your long distance healing.
Absolutely. My website is crystaldragonhealing.com. And my email is sheilahayhealer@gmail.com. You can email me to get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook under Crystal Dragon Healing. And where else am I? Instagram is also Crystal Dragon Healing. And I think I'm in LinkedIn, but I don't remember the one on that one.
Right. No, that's fine. We'll put links to everything in the
Oh,
show notes
perfect.
also, so nobody has to remember it. But just thank you again. Just appreciate your generosity of time and spirit to share your expertise with us.
Jen, you are a light in my life. I just have enjoyed today so much. And thank you for all of the wonderful things that you do for all of the people
Thank
in service to humanity.
oh, thank you so much. Do you have another minute to hang out for our nutrition nugget?
I would love to.
Awesome. So this week we're talking about flour substitutes. Now,
Ooh.
you may not be a big baker or a chef, but I think it's still relevant because it comes up when we're reading labels, right? A lot of times gluten free, low carb, keto, paleo, whole 30, whatever the thing is, right? All of those packaged foods or recipes are using a lot of these alternative, in air quotes, ingredients. So I think it's helpful to understand them and know how to, whether it's what they're offering us, but also how to adapt our favorite recipes so that we can make our favorites a little bit healthful in a way. So, some easy ones. The first one, and I think this is really the most popular, is the almond flour, right? So, it's made from ground almonds. And if you're making it yourself, be careful because grind them too long and you're going to end up with almond butter, right? But so almond flour, it's made from nuts. So it has a little bit of a nutty flavor. It's protein rich, probably one of the most nutrient dense of the flour substitutes out there, because we know the nutritional value of the almonds. Naturally gluten free, right? Packed with protein, vitamins, calcium, quality fat, and a little bit of fiber. And using almond flour helps lower the carbohydrates in the food and help, lower the glycemic impact of the recipe, right? Glycemic impact being how it's going to spike our blood sugar. So, pro tips for using almond flour, remember it has a nutty flavor. So, think about what you're using it to make. Is a nuttier flavor okay in that food? It holds together pretty well. So, you could think of it maybe for like crusts of something. It's a little more dense than regular flour. So, in your measurements, it's not a one to one all purpose flour to almond flour. Um, if you did it in that proportion, it would probably make your end product a little chewy. So if you don't want it to be chewy, you could do sort of like a third of the flour in the recipe as almond flour.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then one that's becoming more popular is coconut flour. So it's made from dried coconut, high in protein, fiber, and fat, which also translates into being low glycemic impact, right? Unlikely or less likely to spike our blood sugar, which is a win. right? Because we know that our blood sugar indicates if we're storing fat. So, tips for using that coconut flour: use a quarter to a third of the flour that the recipe calls for if you're replacing all purpose flour with coconut flour. It is super absorbent. So it's part of why we're going to use less. And it also might require that you add extra liquid. So that might be extra eggs or water or some extra liquid so that the food isn't dry or flaky in the end. On this one, remember that depending on what else is in the recipe, it could give a little bit of a coconut flavor. So again, do we want to taste that?
Here on the island, they use that to batter fish and shrimp.
Yes,
And what a
delicious.
great way to do it and lower your carbs, right?
Yeah, I love that. Another one, and this I think is I see it most often with gluten-free pastas, and that's the chickpea flour,
Mm.
right? So made with garbanzo beans, similar to almond flour in the nutrients that it's giving us. Um, I think this could be like your newest go-to, especially for baking, because it's adding tons of protein, lowers the carbohydrates compared to like typical flours. And it's also offering the fiber and the micronutrients that our body needs. So, like I said, it's a great one for the bakers. It binds and gives us a solid texture to the baked goods. So, think like breads, muffins, cakes. It's also super easy to swap. It doesn't require like the alterations to a recipe like we discussed before with some of the other options. But if you are going to cook it, make sure actually, let me say this better. You must cook it. The batter from a chickpea flour is bitter. And I love cookie dough, so maybe not what you got. There is like a chickpea cookie dough that I've had, but you sort of like treat the chickpea so that it tastes a little less like chickpeas. So if you're using chickpea flour in a baked good, the batter is not going to taste delicious. I
So
promise.
don't
Don't
lick
try
the
it.
spoon,
I'm
is what
saving
you're
you.
saying.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
lick the
Don't lick
spoon.
the spoon on this one. Not that I know from experience or anything. Right. All right. And then this last one, you probably haven't heard about, and you'll be glad I'm putting it on your radar because you're going to be like, I knew about it when. It's banana flour.
What?
So, yes. Okay. So you'll find it in some gluten-free products because it's made from bananas, right? It's gluten-free. It also gives you those resistant starches, which in the body act a little bit like soluble fiber. Quick note on resistant starches, it's better raw. So this is one that you may not want to cook too much. So think about it for like smoothies.
Mm.
And if you're going to use it, just add a little extra water or liquid of some kind because the banana flour will make it pretty thick. If you, right, you're like,
Where are you gonna find banana flour? How or do you make
Google.
that?
I don't make anything. To be clear, I don't make things, but I even had help putting this together. So, because I'm not quite the baker. Um, so the banana flour, if you are going to bake it, do not use a 1-to-1 ratio to regular flour. Use like 3/4 cup of banana flour for every cup of all purpose flour in a recipe. And it can give you a fluffy texture if you have, the right ratio of liquid, if you give it a little more liquid. Um, but it can also be a little more dense, right? So it might be great for like muffins or breads
Mm.
to give it a try. So, wrapping this up, like I said, thank you to Taylor Glenn at TLS for putting this together because I am not the baker, but I love this information. And now you have to upgrade your baking at home. You know
Right?
how to do it. You understand those ingredient lists when you're reading those gluten-free, paleo, keto, whole 30 friendly packaged foods, right? And when everybody else starts to talk about banana flour, you're going to be like, yep, I've known about it for a while. So thanks to this awesome podcast that I listen to. Shameless plug, wink, wink. Okay.
Ah.
So there you have it, the story on healthier flowers.
This
Good?
is amazing, Jen. And one that you didn't mention, rye flour. I've actually cooked
Yes.
with rye flour and baked with it. It's amazing to have
Yes.
baked rye bread.
And rye and sourdough and
Mm.
pumpernickel actually tend to naturally be lower glycemic
Oh,
than, like a traditional wheat bread also. So, like, if you're out and you're not sure what bread to pick, I always go for pumpernickel, rye, or sourdough because there's less variation in what it means to be those breads than in, like, a whole wheat bread sort of runs the gamut.
I'm going to remember that.
Yeah. So, thank you again for being here, Sheila.
Oh, thank you, Jen. This has been great. And, hey, we need to become best friends and hang out more often.
Agreed. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram at Jenn Trepeck, JennTrepeck, and Facebook, Twitter, all the places, even a little TikTok at Jenn Trepeck. And this is your personal invitation. Send me a message. More than that, you are going to see on social media that I want to feature you on our 100th episode. So dial the phone number, leave me a voicemail, and you could hear your voice on the podcast for episode 100. Of course, if you're not already a member, join the membership program by going to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries to show your support for this podcast, this community, and your health. Plus, this week you're getting the recipe for the chimichurri turkey burgers and the link to book your one-on-one session with me. I am so excited for it. So until next week, everybody, remember that energy and physiology are connected. So go for a Reiki or craniosacral therapy session. Let us know what happens. I can't wait to hear. And with that, we will see you here next week. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.